Hey, looks like we're at time. Tony Hickock, did you want to kick us off? Oh, you're muted.
All right, here we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Tony Hickock. I have the privilege of serving as president of Evergreen's board of directors. Thanks for all of you for joining us tonight for our 2025 virtual community meeting and year in review. Wherever you're tuning in from, we're grateful to have you here to celebrate what we've accomplished together, to look at the year ahead, and to stay connected as a statewide community, especially in light of the past 10 days or so. The importance of community and supporting each other is as clear and relevant as ever. My heart goes out to all of those affected across the region by the recent storms. Tonight's meeting is a chance for us to reflect, to share progress, to reaffirm the mission that unites all of us, creating, maintaining, and protecting sustainable mountain biking opportunities for riders of every age, ability, and background across Washington. Before we jump in, I want to quickly walk through what you can expect this evening. We're going to do some introductions. Then we're going to have an executive directory summary and year in review. We're going to get updates from finance, trails, volunteer programs, education, marketing, development. We're going to have chapter reports from across the state. Finally, some closing remarks, a Q&A section, and a donor raffle. Stay tuned for more. We've got a packed and exciting program, so let's get right into it. I'm honored to introduce the volunteers who guide Evergreen's governance and strategic direction. The board of directors represents chapters and communities across Washington, and each person brings deep expertise and passion, countless hours of work behind the scenes. Their leadership ensures Evergreen remains strong, stable, and forward-looking. I think, Eddie, we can probably go to the next slide. Maybe one more. This is our board of directors. I want to give a special thanks to our outgoing board of directors this year: Matt Orlando, Scott Tucker, Joseph Hoffman, Joe Brown, Ray Burks, Jesse Cunningham, and Eddie B. Lane. Thanks to all of them for years and years of service to Evergreen and everything that they've helped us become. Also want to take a moment to welcome some new board members: Christina Barone, Sam Chow, and Brian Crawley. We're excited to have you on the team. We also have several new board members joining to be confirmed in January as well. To all our board members, thank you. Evergreen's stronger because of the time, care, and intention you bring to the organization. As we close out 2025, I want to take a moment to recognize where Evergreen stands today, not just as an organization, but as a community. This year's been one of progress and transition, renewed focus. We've added 2 new chapters, grown our staff, expanded our impact, strengthened our partnerships, and continue building trails, programs, and experiences that bring people together. We've also taken important steps forward with our next strategic plan, shaping the direction that Evergreen will go through 2030. Across the state, Evergreen continues to show what's possible when passionate riders, dedicated volunteers, and skilled builders and committed supporters come together with a shared vision. I want to acknowledge our frontline teams, all of our staff, our trail crews, educators, volunteer leaders, and chapter boards who pour their energy into making mountain biking better for everyone. I also want to recognize our members and donors. You make our work possible every single day. Evergreen is more than a trail building organization. We are a statewide movement, one that advocates, teaches, maintains, and builds not just trails, but community. Together, we celebrate that work tonight. We acknowledge the challenges and successes of the past year. We look forward with momentum and optimism to everything we're going to accomplish together in 2026 and beyond. So thanks again for being here tonight. Your support and involvement fuel everything Evergreen does. With that, I'll hand things over to Eddie for our State of Evergreen and the year in review.
Thanks, Tony. It was around this time last year where I did this meeting for my first time. And I was 4 or 5 months into my new role as the executive director. And it was just enough time for me to get a sense of how complex this organization is. And, for many of us, we arrive at Evergreen, or we're familiar with Evergreen, just through one or two of the things we do, whether it's education, whether it's a work party on our trails, or maybe you've been to one of our events. You're aware we do some of those things, but I'd love to take some time to take a giant step back and introduce or reintroduce this organization to you, our riding community. We are the largest statewide mountain bike nonprofit organization in the country. There's a few coalitions in the South, over in the Northeast, one in California that are made up of a collection of smaller nonprofits. But as one singular organization, we are close to 10,000 members statewide, spread out over 10 chapters, and is the largest one in the country. We're advocates for trails. We're advocates for public land. We're cartographers. We're experts in trail design. We're experts in construction. We're educators, community builders, event planners, festival organizers, and most importantly, avid mountain bikers. Some of us on staff do have road bikes, but we don't really talk about that. In the next half hour or hour and a half, we'll take a tour of the folks who make up this organization. We'll talk about where we are organizationally in the world today, and we'll talk to the chapters who coordinate and deliver the mission at the ground level. The chapters are made up of some of our most dedicated volunteers, and they truly are at the heart of our riding communities. As Tony mentioned, our mission is delivered most directly through our trail team. These are the folks that are out in all sorts of weather, making sure our trails are both maintained, riding well, repaired, and also will build and create a vision for new and expanded trail systems around the state. I'm going to leave this. This list up here for you to take a look at. Next time you see them out on the trails or around town, give them a high five, give them a good fist bump. These are the ones who do the hard work, who literally roll up the sleeves and get the work done. This is our administrative staff. We've had some transitions and brought some new energy in this year. Alex Toombs started as our development director. Bennett Bakke is managing all the tech stack and the computer stuff. Evan Stone started helping with events and initiatives in the Cascades to Sound chapter, and unfortunately will be leaving this week. And then Brandon Ontiveros, our latest hire as our trails director. We are going to be. He's going to have some time to introduce himself later on when we get to our trails. On the advocacy front, so this is one of the more important things that we do. Evergreen is part of a national coalition called the Outdoor Alliance, and we're part of Outdoor Alliance Washington, which is part of the national coalition made up of those organizations. In Washington, we have some local organizations that we meet with regularly to advocate for trails at the state and partly the national level. A lot of our national level advocacy is guided by Outdoor Alliance National. In the state, I collected this list of alliances, coalitions, boards, organizations that Evergreen staff has some influence in, and it's very widespread. It between our trails team, our marketing, myself, we attend all of these meetings. We speak on behalf of Washington State mountain bikers, and part of the work is to create that vision. Part of that work is to create and maintain access on these lands, and we do so happily. This is a big part of our work. 2026 is going to be an exciting time for our next 5-year strategic plan. This is a peek into what we're going to be focusing on as an organization and the trajectory of Evergreen over the next 5 years. The 2020 to 2025 one expires this year. We're polishing up and wordsmithing this next one to be adopted in Q1 of 2026. This is one of the first times that we are sharing it with the public. So consider yourselves pretty fortunate. This was an iterative process over the last year where we got feedback from our organizational partners. We got feedback from focus groups, from staff, from our board, from volunteers, from trail builders to educators. And we arrived on our organizational pillars that we're going to be spending a lot of time and extra focus on in the next 5 years. We're going to increase our operational strength. We're going to build and maintain world-class trails. This is an important one. We've done quite a bit of surveying of the riding public in Washington, and we heard loud and clear the need and the desire for more maintenance, for us to take care of the trails that we've built. We have built an extraordinary number of miles in the state of Washington over the last 5 years. And we're at a point where, we're going to go back and focus on making sure that they're riding well, that we're taking care of the things that we created. We're going to look at how we can balance more cross-country trails with our inventory of world-class jump lines and downhill trails that we've had the honor of building. And so really diving in and doing the work to make sure that we're serving all riders around the state. We're going to lead in advocacy. We're going to continue pushing and keeping our foot on the gas for advocating for mountain bike access and trails and funding for our public land managers, especially now in this political climate. It's more important than ever. We're going to lean into having a strong and vibrant riding community where we're energizing and engaging our riding communities through events, service, and education. And then we're going to promote and provide riding for everyone. Anyone who wants to jump on a bike and ride a trail, we're going to be there for them. And then we're going to keep going on our quality education for all riders and making sure that that's an important part of the mission of Evergreen. And we continue to usher new riders into the sport. It's been a year of challenges. 2025 has been an interesting one. With the weather the way it is now, it doesn't appear to be letting us go into 2026 in any easy way. Between federal, state, we've had challenges with grants, with funding shortfalls, the weather. The bomb cyclone ended last year. The fire season was relatively kind, but now we're stuck with some pretty historic rain, mudslides, and flooding events. So it's been a pivotal year for us. The sort of drumbeat and what I want to share with you is Evergreen has stayed strong. We focus on staying nimble in order to respond to these different challenges. A lot of our resources are going back into the systems and tools that we have at our disposal to make sure that we continue doing the work and delivering the mission at our state and local levels. And with that, I will send it over to Micah.
Thanks, Eddie. My name's Micah Shapiro. I'm the finance director here in the Evergreen statewide office. I've just got a couple real quick slides to talk about some of our financial status. Eddie, if you want to jump to the first slide there. So just where does our funding come from and what do we spend it on? First and foremost, we are a trail maintenance organization. Almost half of our funding comes from trail contracts, maintenance agreements, those kind of things. And there's a variety of federal, state, and municipal land managers and clients that we work with. And then behind that, contributions is about 23%, in membership, about 14%. So basically, contributed revenue, about 37%. So you can see those two make the biggest piece of it. And then education, about 10% of our income comes from that, from our dirt camps and skills classes. Events are a little under 4%, and then a little sliver there of merch sales. And then what do we spend our money on? Again, trails is the biggest piece, and that's just because of the amount of labor we have to put into it with our trail builders, and then the basically any equipment and materials that goes along with that. So that is our biggest expense as well, the trails program. Admin is 15%. Education 13, fundraising and events are both 4.5, marketing and communications a little under 3, and then advocacy about 2.5, and our volunteer program about a 1% on that. Eddie, go ahead and jump to the next slide. And then just to kind of talk of our growth, we have seen substantial growth over the past 5 years, mostly in the trails program. In 2020, and although it was a COVID year, we did about 700,000 in trail work, which was more than we did in 2019, actually, which is interesting. But looking at it, 2023, we peaked at about 1.6 million. Last year, about 1.43. And this year will be somewhere around the high 1.4s. So that's where we are with the trail building. Contributions, we had a huge peak in 2021. I think we were feeling a lot of the kind of the COVID money just flowing through the economy. So that was a big year for us. 2023 was big. 2024, we were about 750, and we'll probably be around that for contributed revenue again this year. If any of you guys haven't donated yet to our end of year campaign, make sure you get involved with that. We've got a goal of 200,000, so we're looking for money for that. Membership has just been on a kind of a slow growth. The average member kind of fluctuate, but membership income, we are seeing about a 5 to 10% growth in that income per year, and we're projecting about 440,000 for that for 2025. In education, we've kind of been steady about 300,000 over the past few years. The biggest problem we're struggling with is finding places where we can do more education programs that are accessible to large groups of people. So we're working on things for 2026 to grow the program more. I know Kristen is going to talk about that in her education presentation. But that's where education is. And then event income and other income, that's just kind of been pretty steady, about 150,000 for the last couple of years. But you can see the biggest thing has really been the trails program, and that continues. We probably will continue to see growth in that, although there might be a shift more to maintenance projects now that there are so many trail projects out there that need maintenance. We're probably going to be seeing a lot of that, along with new trail construction. That is everything that I have. And I'll pass it back to Eddie. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Micah. Yeah, if I'm going to leave this slide up for just a sec, when I talk about our focus shifting, it's not, it's not going to be a net zero effort. So part of the mission is going to be identifying where we have opportunities, or if we have areas around the state where new trails, there's an opportunity for new trail systems. We're going to still lean on making sure that all communities around the state have access. At the same time, we recognize that there's a lot of trails that still could use some love, and so that's sort of the comment that I wanted to make, was that we're hoping, and the idea is to get to provide those trails that love. If we look at this chart also, we see sort of at the bottom three, the membership, education, and events. We're going to be pouring some horsepower into those parts of the organization. This is primarily a trails building and maintaining nonprofit. But I think there's still some space, and there's a lot of demand and interest in making sure that providing good education and making sure that is an important part, and giving and resourcing that part of it is will be part of our work, including more membership benefits and having a good value proposition to being a member of the organization is going to be addressed. So more questions and more you'll be seeing more on that throughout the year next year, and then always happy to take questions at the end of this if you have any. We're going to move on to trails next. This is going to be pretty exciting. Like it's a big part of our organization. We have a new face, and I'll let Brandon introduce himself, and then let Mick McLean, a longtime staff person of Evergreen, to talk about some of our backcountry work. Brandon.
All right. Thank you, Eddie. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us and supporting Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance. My name is Brandon Ontiveros. I'm the new Evergreen Trails Director, based out of Bellingham, Washington. I'll give a quick little intro on who I am and my background, and then kind of dive into trails a little bit deeper with Mick here. But I've worked in the mountain bike industry for over 20 years, since the early 2000s. I've conducted over 100 major mountain bike events and festivals, and worked alongside some of the largest bike brands, athletes, and media companies in the world. Um, I guess back in the early 2000s started the Oregon Super D series, which we later turned into the Oregon Enduro series, which was the first of its kind in North America. Following that, I ran and owned the Big Mountain Enduro for over a decade, and was able to bring in the Enduro World Series, the first four EWS stops in the United States back in those days. Based out of Crested Butte was our company, but we also put on the very first 5-day backcountry enduro in North America called the Crested Butte Ultra. So have a lot of experience in backcountry trails and working with the Forest Service in that regard. I've worked alongside many film and media projects as well, some of which include Anthill Films and their Crested Butte segment, Return to Earth, which was kind of on the pioneering efforts of mountain biking. But all said, I was very fortunate to be a part of some of these early efforts in mountain biking through events as a brand ambassador and through trail development, and hopefully help shape it in a positive way. I'm super excited to take on this new role with Evergreen and share some of my experiences and knowledge in building and maintaining some of the best trails in the Pacific Northwest. I obviously have a deep love and passion for mountain biking, and aim to get more people involved in bikes and into the outdoors and the healthy lifestyle that creates. The bicycle is pretty much what shaped me as a person and who I am, and I strive to make a positive impact on other people's lives and give back the same way that many folks helped shape me through my career. I'm only 2 months in. I'm learning a lot, and as Eddie alluded to, it's a complex organization, and we have a lot of moving pieces here at Evergreen. So I'm learning quick and getting thrown right into it. Um, I'm primarily focusing on the west side of the state right now. Mick McLean, who we'll turn it over to in a couple minutes, handles a lot of the eastern projects for us and some of those chapters over there. But I'm really excited to be working alongside all these great folks at Evergreen and like-minded people and communities that we're so fortunate to be a part of. And yeah, excited for what 2026 entails. Mick will jump in and give kind of a 30,000-foot view on what happened last year and kind of the direction that we're going in 2026. But eager and excited to get out there and get my hands dirty and help build and maintain a lot of the trails, the wonderful trails that we have here in Washington State. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Mick McLean, and he can get deeper into the trails components.
Hey everyone, good evening. I'm Mick, and as Brandon mentioned, I'm the Trails Program Manager for Eastern Washington, and for the last few months also been filling in as the Interim Program Manager for Western Washington. As highlighted earlier, this year has been a challenging year, but through those challenges, we came out with still a lot of great successes across the state. I'll let our chapters cover those achievements, but from a high level, I like to talk about Washington's backcountry. As you can see from the slide, most of our backcountry work is on federal lands, and the majority of that being within the national forests. From the Selkirks up in Northeast Washington to the San Juans and in between, our crews and dedicated volunteers have faced the elements and challenges of remote terrain to maintain and restore our precious backcountry trails for generations to come. Last year, we added a new team member. Meet the Backcountry Backpack. Through grants, agreements, private donations, and over the last 18 months, we have transformed this trailer into a work party in a box, able to support crews in excess of 50 people, which brings us new opportunities. In 2026, we'll look at more work parties across the state, so keep an eye on our calendar and newsletters for announcements for new and exciting backcountry experiences. And last, this is really high level. Here's an overview of potential development opportunities in the next 5 years and beyond. With over 30 projects currently in some phase of development, the future of mountain biking within Washington not only looks promising, but shows that communities are demanding more access to mountain biking opportunities from city parks to public lands. So thank you all again for joining us tonight. And next up, I'd like to introduce Brandon Good with our volunteer program.
Thanks, Mick. Hey, everybody. I am Brandon Good, Evergreen's statewide volunteer program manager, and I'll be updating you on our volunteer impact of 2025. To start off, just a big thank you to all our volunteers across the state. You make this organization, community, and sport thrive. And this thanks goes out to our trail workers, our board members, council, chapter councils, educators, ambassadors, event coordinators, and so many more. Our volunteer community is the backbone of everything we do, strong, resilient, and always willing to show up when it matters most. In light of the recent storms that we had that have impacted our communities across the state, we encourage all who are able to lend a helping hand, whether it's supporting friends, family, neighbors, or assisting with trail recovery efforts. Your time and care make a real difference. So this year, go back. This year, we've had a lot of trail gnomes all over the place. Our community contributed over 21,000 volunteer hours, and of that, more than 16,000 of those hours were dedicated to trail work. Our annual mountain bike festival had over 750 hours of volunteer work to help run that event. We had 1,600 volunteer hours coming from our education program from across the state, and over 3,100 volunteer hours came from our statewide board and chapter council members. Some highlights and things to look forward to for 2026. This past year, we held 5 trail schools across the state, and we were also awarded a $20,000 grant from the Washington Recreation and Conservation Office that will go towards the development and implementation of that program. So stay tuned for some more stuff next year on that. And then moving to some of our highest attended events across the state, we had, which made up this top 7 list, made up nearly 10% of our total trail work for volunteer hours we saw this year, coming from all corners of the state: the Meadow chapter, Cascades of Sound, East chapter, West Sound, Kittitas, and more. So, sorry, you can go to the next chapter or next slide. While there are many standout volunteers from across the state that have been putting in their time to this community and our mission for years, each year we like to ask staff, trail builders, chapters, and community members to nominate some of our standout volunteers of the year. These folks are recognized for their time, dedication to their chapters, trails, and community. So without further ado, these are our volunteers of the year. with Cascades of Sound, and sorry if I mess up some name pronunciations. We have Arnie Mondlock, Ashley McDonald, Catherine Gard, Aaron Martin, Jessica Mavica, Kevin Loper, Vince Haig, and Gordon Brandt. For Central, Julie Ellington and Carrie Coons. Our newest chapter, Columbia Basin, Ben and Laura Floyd. For Cowlitz Natchez, our chapter president over there, Tyler Foreman. For the East chapter, Dustin and Elaine Irons. Kittatast, Katie Newhall. For the Methow, David Bally. Southwest chapter, Todd McCarthy. And the West Sound chapter, Drew Reynolds and Sky Urich. A huge thank you to these wonderful folks. And again, apologies if I mispronounce your names. If you'd like to learn more about these wonderful people, we will have a blog out soon highlighting all of our volunteers of the year. So stay tuned, and thank you all for all that you have, or thank you so much for all that you do. Coming up next with the education program is Kristen.
Thanks, Brandon. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen McCune, the statewide education director. Our education team provides mountain bike education across the state with the primary focus on building up skills and confidence, connecting riders, and inspiring them to spend more time on the trails. Let's dive into some of the work that was done in 2025. So Evergreen hosts our summer dirt camps for kiddos to improve bike skills, to make riding friends, and really just get outside and on the trails. And we hosted programs across 3 different chapters with about 600 campers. And this really continues to be a stable and successful program offering for us. It's very fun. Kids are psyched. This year, 19 of our campers were on scholarship, and we were also able to provide bikes to borrow for those who needed it in our Central and East chapters because they have bike fleets to share with kids. A quick announcement that camps will open for registration on January 28th, and our popular locations fill really fast within a few hours. So be ready if you have kids in this age group. Our camps start usually around age 7 up through age 16. So get ready. We also hire summer camp coaches, and the recruitment for those folks starts around the same time. So if you have a little bit older kiddos who like working with kids and want a job outside for the summer, we'd love to have them apply. Next, we have our skills clinics and private lessons. We have around 100 volunteer instructors around the state teaching skills to youth and adults, and we're really grateful for them. They go through a yearly internal certification and are so great at what they do. We hosted about 500 students in classes, and most of those students are new to the sport, just starting to build up their foundational skills. We've, like Micah mentioned in the budget conversation, we've definitely seen a bit of a downturn in participation in the last year or so. But we've also got some fun ideas coming up for next year, more classes on trail, adding some classes in new areas to try and serve more riders. We're using this as an opportunity to get innovative. So next slide, please. In addition to our standard classes and camps, we regularly run intro to mountain bike programs in partnership with other groups with the goal of getting more riders into the sport, particularly those who might not have built-in access. We worked with about 125 both youth and adults through a few different programs, one being an after-school class at Wenatchee, worked with groups such as Nosotros and Naturaleza, mentoring urban students and teens, the Nature Project, and the Youth Experiential Training Institute to get more folks out on the trails, the theme of the education program. Next slide, please. Our biggest community program that continues to grow is the work we do for riders with disabilities in partnership with Outdoors for All. In 2025, we ran both beginner and intermediate skills clinics for those learning how to ride an adaptive bike. We hosted group rides at the Mountain Bike Festival at Raging this year. We ran a program with Wounded Warriors Project and also finalized a trails assessment at the Trek of Tahale that was specific to adaptive bikes. Those trails are closed right now, but when they reopen in the spring, I really urge you to get out there and check out the new signage. Next year, be on the lookout for more classes and camps at your local trail systems. In our adaptive program, we're going to have a short documentary coming out, more trail assessments around the state, and more programming for riders from all sorts of backgrounds. So lots of fun to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. We are going to keep moving along and invite Viveka to talk about marketing and communications next.
Thanks, Eddie. Hey, everyone. I'm Viveka Stamolis. I also go by Viv. Marketing and communications and events. I was your festival director this last year. You can go to the next slide. So marketing and communications, this is how we make Evergreen's work visible across the state and beyond. It helps people understand the work we're doing and why it matters. So this year we shared about 450 posts on social media, probably a lot more than that, but that's what we calculated. That's roughly 40 a month. That's across Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. And that steady rhythm lets us show our trail work, our events, volunteer efforts as they're happening. So it helps connect people to what's going on in their communities. Across our statewide social media accounts, we now total around 39,000 followers. And then we also have individual chapter accounts, so much more than that even. On average, we see around 132,000 people viewing our content each month. And that reach really matters because it brings new people into the Evergreen community and it grows support for our trails all across Washington. And we have email. Email continues to be one of our most effective engagement tools. We have more than 19,000 newsletter subscribers. We have an average 48% open rate, which if you're in the email marketing space, you know that is actually above average. Our newsletters really help turn interest into action. So whether that's volunteering, attending events, or supporting our work. And then when we want to tell deeper stories, we do that through our blog. In 2025, we published 56 blog posts highlighting our trail projects, advocacy updates, community wins, volunteer stories, and so much more all across the state. So I included the link there. If you haven't been on our blog recently, we always have really fun stories to share. And at the end of the day, all of this helps keep people informed and builds long-term support for mountain biking all across Washington and establishing Evergreen as a trusted resource for all of this information. Next slide, events. Evergreen Mountain Bike Festival 2025. I think I saw a lot of you attendees there. Super fun time. In 2025, the festival brought around 1,000 estimated attendees to Raging River. We had a very wide variety of group rides and clinics and other activities, bigger than ever before. It's grown into a very large celebration of our riding community. It's come a long way since our demo days at Duthie nearly 20 years ago. That being said, we have decided to pause the festival in 2026. This gives us the opportunity to refocus our budget and our staff time on chapter-led events across the state. This festival has grown and it has become extremely challenging to run it in a way that makes sense financially for Evergreen, given how high expenses have become, as you can imagine. So by shifting our focus, we can support more local events and reach more communities and strengthen our year-round work in a more balanced way. So I'm incredibly grateful for all the support that's made the festival successful. Last year was super fun. We're just taking a quick break. And we're super excited to see what this shift allows us to do in the future. So stay tuned for other events, and I hope to see you out there. Thanks. And I'll turn it over to Alex.
Hey there, thanks, Viv. Thanks everyone for being here and listening to all of these updates. I'm Alex Toombs, Evergreen's Development Director, and I head up all things fundraising, partnership, sponsorship, membership, all the ships. I joined the team back in March, and tonight I'm going to give you a quick little snapshot of what we've accomplished over this last year and what we have looking towards in 2026. For membership, the big picture here is that our membership program has stabilized and also engagement is up. We have over 5,200 primary members. That's 5,200 households that hold a membership, and that helps us bring in over 8,200 total members within those households and beyond. The focus within our membership program has shifted just a little bit from just acquisition and retention of our members, but also to deepen the value and belonging. So it's really important that our members feel connected and proud to be a member. And we also want them to feel rewarded for showing up for the trails. So during this most recent membership drive in September, if you checked into that at all, we announced loads of partnerships. We have over a dozen businesses and organizations that are now offering perks and benefits to our members. Some of these were brand new partners that have never worked with Evergreen before, and some are existing partners, and we got to really strengthen those relationships. So the goal with our whole membership program is we want to offer a lot of value. We want to be presenting a clearer membership identity and also more reasons for folks to stay involved year round and not just during the campaign season. Partnerships, they're a major lever for Evergreen and a major lever for nonprofits in general. They expand the work that we can do, and they also help engage riders in infinite different, very creative ways. We've been very focused recently on developing multi-year sponsorships, so moving towards a very structured long-term agreement. That just really supports our reliability with funding and our strategic planning for longevity of income, opportunities and resources. And I want to showcase Red Bull as a really awesome example. They've supported Evergreen in the past, and now we've moved Red Bull as a sponsor onto a formal multi-year partnership. So they're going to be an organizational sponsor with very clear goals, more intentional engagement from now for the next couple of years. We're also working on developing localized support opportunities. So that's chapter level pathways for local support. Things like trail maintenance sponsorship. We're working on a trail adoption style program just to make it really easy and accessible for local partners to invest in the trails that they love to ride and the people that they love to ride with. Corporate partner momentum is also another lever that we're really focused on. So workplace giving, especially being in the Seattle area, is massive. We have so many corporations here that offer matches. So for example, we've worked with Microsoft for many, many years, and each year they put together their own event where Microsoft staff who are also riders, they join together during match periods, and that multiplies their gifts significantly. So anyone here on the call, if you happen to have an employer that does have a match program, that's one of the easiest ways to double or even more. Sometimes they triple or quadruple your impact. It's tremendous. Next, we want to talk about our single track soiree. So for anyone here on the call that was there, thank you for showing up, for coming, for donating, for bidding on the auction items. It was a total blast. That margarita bike blender was certainly the highlight for me, but also having entertainment with comedian Scott Lossy was such a hit. This event is the second year running, and it is first and foremost a fundraiser for sure, but it's a party. It's bringing people together, getting face to face with the folks who are building Evergreen, building the trails, the community. This first year that I've been with it, we had over 110 people. Our auction items raised over $20,000. The Raise the Paddle raised over $35,000. I mean, we just had such a blast. It was so much fun, and we're going to be doing more of this. We're going to have the single track soiree in 2026. So please keep an eye out for information on that. And to close out our development and fundraising section, we could just go to the next slide, Eddie. Right now, we are in our year-end, the year-end giving season for the end-of-year fundraiser, which pretty much every nonprofit has. Our goal right now is $200,000 by New Year's Eve, and we're well over halfway there, almost 75% of the way there actually as of right now. And I just wanted to showcase that we have an incredible opportunity with a dollar for dollar match for up to $30,000 with the Salzer Family Foundation. Super generous. They've been involved for years, and for this year, they wanted to offer this special match. So that means every dollar that is donated is instantly doubled. So if you wanted to do a $50 donation, it actually is $100. If you want to do 500, that's $1,000. Someone's going to drop, oh, thank you, Tara. She dropped the link in the chat. So if you are willing and interested and able, please make your year-end gift tonight, because we also are opening up a raffle. So at the end of the call, after the Q&A, we're going to pull a winner, a name from anyone that has donated tonight, to be entered to win a custom Evergreen last bag. It's one of those like really durable bags you could throw your gear in or your groceries or whatever. Super fun. Thank you for all your support. And of course, if you have any questions about fundraising or sponsorship, please never hesitate to reach out to me. And that is all. I'm going to pass it off to the Central chapter to talk about all of their 2025 accomplishments.
Thank you, Alex.
Excellent. Thanks, Alex. So I'm Tony Feeney, president of the Central chapter here in Central Washington. And basically just wanted to give everybody a rundown on the projects that we've been working on and what we're looking forward to coming in 2026. So this year, we had a variety of projects that came to fruition. One of the big ones was the completion of community property and building that trail, which is an adaptive trail and one of the first adaptive trails in our region. So the completion of that, as well as the completion of Wet Burrito up at number 2 Canyon. And both those trails are at our number 2 Canyon trails area. Next, there was multiple improvements, tread work and shaping gone on Lower Rib Trail at Ski Hill. So in addition to all the maintenance that went on in that area, we were able to rebuild the lower section of that rib trail as well. And then the continued partnership with the CDLT in our area, we were able to rebuild two trails at the Sage Hills complex, and that was the Lightning Trail and Coyote Canyon. Two trails that just needed some extra attention, and really took something that was there and completely rebuilt it to make it just a way more enjoyable ride in general. So next are kind of the community events that we did. A big one in our area was the Leavenworth Bike Fest. It was the first year that we put this event on. Multiple bike races, from a gravel ride to kind of an enduro ride, and then just a little festival at the Ski Hill location. And this is something that putting it on, we were incredibly pleased with how it went, and we're really looking forward to moving on with this this bike fest. Well attended, and it just seemed the people who came couldn't have been happier with the event, and we're really looking forward to what we can make it going forward. And just like anything, the first year you do it, you kind of learn, and we know going forward some things that will really add to the experience there. Next was our Tacos for Trails event. This is kind of our annual fundraiser. We've done it in a couple different ways, but we were able to raffle off a bike at this event. Well, more so sell the tickets there, and then we also just have community members come in, hear what we're working on, what we're looking forward to, and we provide tacos, and they end up doing a silent auction and raffles to give products out and just get everybody kind of stoked for the season of mountain biking. And then another thing that we have been doing consistently going back to last year was our trailhead advocacy, and this is just board members, volunteers posting up and going at the trailheads and just interacting with riders and community members and letting them know that, you know, these trails don't just show up on their own, and a lot of work goes into them, and just reminding people to support Evergreen, to be members, and it has always been a successful event, so we continue to do that this year. And then finally, our youth programs. We really support our education program. It's something that in the Central chapter is important to us, and something we always want to continue to grow. And so again, the youth camps were always a success for us, whether we're getting tourists coming to the Leavenworth location and locals, or just locals over at the School Chuck location. But then our Youth Fest at School Chuck State Park, just an event that we put on to give a chance for those young riders that came to the camps and community members as well to just get a chance to ride in a pretty low consequence race environment, get out there and just kind of, again, take a culmination of the skills that they learned and put them on display for the community. So great year-end accomplishments, even with the challenges that we had with funding and things of that nature. So next slide, please. So looking forward in 2026, some major things that could potentially happen. One of the big ones for us is the completion of the Upper Valley Sustainable Trail Plan. This is something that's been on the docket for a long time, and if this comes to fruition, it's really going to allow access to some major classic trails in our area to be able to come in under the Evergreen umbrella, be able to get that attention and work that we can provide as a trail organization. And just recently I got some really good positive updates on that, so that really is something that could be a major win for our chapter in 2026. It's going to be a lot of work, but we're really looking forward to it, what it can bring to this area. Next is just going to continue with the events that we did in 2025. Kids Fest, Bike Fest, those are the things that we really want to focus on, and then the Tacos for Trails as well. So that fundraising, and then just the community engagement. Also gonna look to start work on You Killed My Father. So at the #2 Canyon trails, we have kind of the Princess Bride trails. So it's My Name is Inigo Montoya, You Killed My Father, and Prepare to Die. So this is that final trail that we want to get in that series of trails. So that's going to be a big project for us. And then, like I mentioned before, to continue to just grow our education program, get more riders and get more stoke in the community, so we can get more of the young guys out there riding bikes. And then next slide, please. And then just the big shout out, Julie Ellington was on there, our treasurer, and then Carrie Kuntz as well. Carrie just really went above and beyond this year. I mean, he was out there everywhere, from working on trails, on trail work parties, to sitting in on board meetings, to harassing every member that went by him at those tabling events, to just remind them that these trails are not free and that a lot of work goes in there. And so just wanted to give a big shout out to Carrie and all the volunteers in our chapter, and I'll pass it on to the Southwest chapter.
Hey guys, I'm Victor with the Southwest chapter. I'm on the council, brand new for this year, but I've been involved for many, many years in our area. So yeah, it's kind of the theme of this meeting: trail work and volunteers. We couldn't do it without our fantastic crew of trail builders and volunteers here in the Southwest. We always have a pretty great turnout for our work parties, and they've been the real reason why we've been able to really just keep the trails in tip-top shape. The big effort this year was fixing 6 cents this year, since it got logged last year, over the last year and a half. So this year, everybody went in and really cleaned up the trail and got it in tip-top shape. And amazingly, it was open for our event that we had in the middle of last year. We're continuing to keep getting more and more volunteer hours out there as best we can. Our big efforts right now is just maintenance and such. Our main focus for our chapter is the Yakult burn, but we do a lot of work in other areas like Suisun, the Lacamas Lake trails, and some others around here. And we just had our meeting the other day, and we get people asking us to build more trails in other places. So we're going to continue to seek out new trails and see what we can do. Next slide. Our big event is our Yakult burn experience, and obviously our volunteer of the year was Todd McCarthy. He's a big reason why this event happens. I don't think it would have happened without him this year, for sure. It's really our biggest event this year. We had a great response from sponsors. we had over $5,000 in prizes that we raffled out. I think it was the biggest year that we've ever had for raffles. So that was great. Even some of the sponsors had given us some cash as well. So that really went a long way. And it's really our pride and joy to show off our trails to people. Unfortunately, this year we had a lot of rain, and so that dampened a little bit. But we still had over 100 brave souls who, weren't afraid of a little water and mud and in their teeth. So we already have this year on the schedule, or I'm sorry, for 2026. The Yakult Burn Experience will return on June 20th, I believe, is the day we decided. So hopefully we'll see more people, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for no rain. Next slide. As anywhere in Washington and probably around the country, we face challenges here in the Southwest Washington area as well. All of our trails, for the most part, are under the DNR purview. So with budgets changing and reducing, we definitely have genuine challenges of getting more trails built. So we're really leaning, we're trying to let them know that we're here to help them maintain, to build, and whatever work we can do to supplement what they normally have. So we're really trying to work now with our local land managers in conjunction with HQ and anybody else that we can get to hear us, lawmakers and community stakeholders, to really push forward our vision for some more trails in the Yakult Burn, especially. The next slide we can show this is our vision of what we want to see in the Yakult Burn, and we want to try to give our best to have 14 new trails in the next cycle of approvals for new trails. So we're pushing hard. We're trying to do our best to raise money now. We have a pretty good war chest building up. So the minute a trail can be approved, we're ready to hit the ground running. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you at next year's event.
Great. Thanks, Victor. Jesse, are you ready to go?
I'm ready. Hi, everybody. I'm Jesse Cunningham. I'm the Kittitas chapter president, outgoing. After 6 years as president, I'll be stepping down, but we'll continue to work on chapter projects moving forward through my role as a program manager. I just had a quick list here of the project areas that we have in the Kittitas chapter, and I'll give you some details on the work that we've been doing there in the following slides. Go ahead, Eddie. So 2025 was a really good year for us. We're up to 169 members, and we had over 1,200 volunteer hours this year. When Brandon brought up that list, I was pretty proud to see that we got 2 shout outs of the top 7 work parties. We had some really big work parties, and we had a lot of really engaged volunteers this year, which helped us get done some of the work that we've been working on that's so vital to making these projects happen. Just wanted to highlight a few events from this year. We have our Tianaway Trail Fest that this is our 3rd year running on that. And as part of that, we do shuttles on Cle Elum Ridge and do some volunteer work parties. And then with Drew Brew, we plan an event that is hosted and planned with our other recreation partners, Washington Trails Association, Backcountry Horsemen, and Mountains to Sound Greenway, which are all critical partners in working in the Tianaway area. We also hosted a Free Hub Film Festival fundraiser, which featured one of the films was Girl Huck Yeah, which was a Evergreen produced film. So that was really fun to be able to bring that to our community. We also hosted a trail school this spring and a tool school, which was a new event that where we taught volunteers how to take care of trail tools and had them help us maintain our chapter tools. So that was a really fun event. Go ahead to the next slide, please. Some of our trail highlights from this past year. The first one was the Rotary Bike Park rebuild. This is our community bike park in Ellensburg. This was our very first chapter project in 2016. So it felt really good to go back and give this some love. We've done regular maintenance on it, but it was in need of a kind of a full rebuild. And this work party made that list. And it just goes to show that some of these community assets like this really bring out community members to help out and to maintain these areas and take care of them. And the community really values this as a resource. Moving into Teanaway Community Forest, we did some reroutes. This was completely new trail build on Lower BST, which is an existing trail that connects to the Upper BST trail that we put online in the last year or so. And this was part of our phase 1 work on the Teanaway Community Forest Trails implementation. And then we also started on some phase 2 work, including starting the first half of the Windy Ridge Trail. And we got that about a mile roughed in and a bunch of finished work done this fall before we got shut down. And we're looking forward to finishing that next year. Up at Nanum Ridge, we did a bunch of maintenance up there, but some of the most significant things were the bottom right-hand corner photo. You can see DNR helped out a bunch with improvements to the road that goes up there, which has been a deterrent for some people to go up there and use that area, and also improve the trailhead. And so that was a huge win for us in terms of access there. Bottom left is a Northwest Youth Corps crew that worked with me for 2 weeks up in Nanum doing maintenance, and we got a ton of work done with them. So, and then top right is part of the new Windy Ridge Trail construction. So lots of great stuff there. Continue on, Eddie, please. So looking into 2026, I think this is looking to be our biggest year yet for trails in the Kittitas chapter. I'm super excited that these trail projects that we've been working on for years to get going are finally gaining momentum, and there's a lot that's potential to happen this year. Phase 2 will continue with Windy Ridge Trail in the Teanaway. We also have 2 miles of new build to reroute the River Ridge Trail off of private property. And also, we won't get to it this year, but part of phase 2 is also to build another new trail that drops into the Dingbat Creek drainage. We're about to sign a work order with Department of Natural Resources for about $90,000 to help support that work. So really looking forward to getting going on that and really starting to build out that trail system some more. At Nanum Ridge, really big news there. DNR has secured a capital request to build a new access road. So the road that I was talking about in the previous slide that they've helped to improve. Part of the access road currently goes through private property, and that has been a problem for us in terms of getting those trails officially designated and for us to get publicly available grant funds to support our work there. And the new access road will bypass the private property and make it so that it's all on DNR property. So that's super exciting. And along with that, we're looking at, we have about $40,000 in money that we've raised to support building there this year. That's a self-funded project for us. And along with that, we're working with DNR right now for both of those trail systems. We're planning official openings and designation of the existing built trails for this year, for the spring, most likely May for Nanum and June for Teanaway. And last thing that I wanted to point out is our Nanum campout that we've done. We didn't do it this past year, but we did it in previous years, and that's a really great event where we camp out up in the upper areas of the Nanum, up among the wildflowers in June, and we ride bikes and do trail work. And I invite you all to come out if you haven't checked out that area and camp with us, and hoping we can get Mick out there with a backcountry backpack and have a big party. So thank you all for all the work that you do and your support of Evergreen. Super appreciate it.
Great, thanks, Jesse. From here, we're going to go east and head out to our chapter out of Spokane. Belinda?
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate your support of Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance. My name is Melinda Dupree, president of the East Chapter. A quick snapshot of the East Chapter by the numbers. Our geographic footprint is 5 counties in the northeast corner of Washington, and we have over 240 miles of trails for mountain biking in Spokane County alone. Our chapter members number 467 strong. And this year so far, we've had 123 individuals log over 2,200 volunteer hours. As Brandon mentioned, our largest work party consisted of 37 volunteers and staff combined at Riverside State Park on National Trails Day in June. Next slide. Our focus this year was on the values of being welcoming, transparent, and inclusive. An exciting addition to our chapter council was a new position for a youth liaison, and Liam provided awesome input and collaboration with our youth teams. Thanks, Liam. This year we had roaming locations for our chapter meetings. You can see in the photo at Hilliard Bike Shop. We visited several shops, breweries, and other locations. And the best part, I think, was that everyone we reached out to gave us a very enthusiastic yes when we asked if they would host us. We also had several guests join us at our meetings, including land managers and even housing developers that we are collaborating with to sustain and improve recreation opportunities in Spokane. Next slide. A few event highlights from 2025. Spokatopia is a summer festival at Beacon Hill, features mountain biking, but also includes a variety of outdoor activities. We had loads of group rides, thanks to our volunteers of the year, Elaine and Dustin Irons. These included a tour of our newest trails at Minnehaha Park, where I was lucky to witness our brave leader, Executive Director Eddie, perform a flawless emergency dismount near the bottom of a new tech trail named Ghostly Laughter. Thanks, Eddie, for leading us down the trail. And in October, the Mountain Biking Angels blessed us with our first significant rain in months on the very day we hosted Eastoberfest, our community enduro race in Spokane. Next slide. Outside of Spokane in Northeast Washington, as you've heard, the Evergreen Backcountry Program, we hosted 3 events in the Colville National Forest, a work party at Taylor Ridge, where I think we cut down all 4,000 of those trees that Mick mentioned earlier. We also collaborated on the 20th annual Kettle Fest on the Kettle Crest in July, and we had our 2nd annual Larch Fest in October. These events included camping camaraderie, rugged and fun backcountry rides, and significant work projects maintaining Forest Service trails. So a huge thanks to Mick for his leadership and organization of these events. Mick's been instrumental in advocating for backcountry trails, and he's built excellent relationships with partners in Northeast Washington that benefit us all. Thanks, Mick. Next slide. The trails in Spokane County, along with our ongoing maintenance, we performed some significant trail tune-ups at Riverside State Park that was mentioned earlier after some fire mitigation work, also at Micah Peak and the Saltese Uplands. I want to give a special mention and thanks to our volunteer leaders for these projects, including Harley Dobson, Frank Benish, Alexei Florianovich, Mike Graneman, Alan Petrie. Thanks to you guys for your leadership and volunteerism. Next slide. Our education program this summer was led by Eliza Hirsch, and she recruited a talented and enthusiastic staff of coaches and instructors. The kids' dirt camps were fun-filled. They drew families from outside of Spokane to come and learn and ride at Beacon Hill. I think one of my favorite things to do in the summer is show up on Friday fun days during dirt camps, particularly when the littles are out there making new friends both on and off a mountain bike. One more slide. Finally, as we look ahead to 2026, we'll continue our focus on community engagement through work parties, group rides, our education program, and events. Our trail focus will likely stay on maintenance, both in Spokane and in the backcountry. And this coming spring, we will begin looking at some of our trail systems and infrastructure to assess how we can welcome and include adaptive riders in Eastern Washington. Thanks to everyone across the state for your membership, your support. The East Chapter welcomes you all to come and ride with us. Thanks.
Thanks, Melinda. And if, the backcountry trails on the east side of the state are one bookend, we're going to go to the other side of the state and the other bookend uh, to our West Sound chapter. Matt Blossom will talk about what they've done and our world-class, the Port Gamble Ride Park. If you haven't been there, is home to some of the best jump trails in the state. Matt, you got it?
I do. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks for hosting us tonight. Welcome, everybody. Again, my name is Matt Blossom. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for Evergreen West Sound, which encompasses Port Gamble, 360 Park in Winona, Green Mountain, Banner Forest, Hallsbow Pump Track, and a new Strawberry Hill Bike Park on Bainbridge Island. 2025 was a great year for our chapter. We not only rebuilt 3 trails completely, we also completely refreshed 2 trails, being Melody, Ranger, a fan favorite, Phoenix, a new jump trail to help some people progress through the jump lines Eddie had been talking about. Version 3 of Maverick, I think is our final version finally. And we've recently rebuilt Petrichor from the new parking lot on the north end all the way through the park to the Over Easy corridor. So it's twice the width, a little bit more fun and engaging, and just a great trail overall. The chapter maintains a total of 56 trails through the parks that we maintain. Last year, we had an outstanding year of volunteer labor and work hours. We got over 1,500. We have an incredible turnout at Port Gamble and 360 when we have work parties. Thanks to Heather and all her hard work on social media, we tend to throw quite a party, and we're known for that, and they're pretty fun. Trees cleared this year. We've had quite a few issues out at Port Gamble, as you know, because we've had a lot of pre-commercial thinning happening over the last couple of years. So we get out, and last year our chapter cleared over 40 trees through the ride park and the rest of the 3,500 acres at Port Gamble and 360 Park. The education department at the West Sound continues to grow and thrive. It's a great revenue generator for us to continue to develop what we see as just a really fun, great park in Port Gamble and 360. So hats off to Alyssa Eckert and Aaron Wilkinson, who have both put in close to 10 years with our chapter, and this year are stepping down. And so we're going to be finding some new education folks to lead us into the new year. Community events and membership. The chapter, it says 640, but for some reason 840 is in my head. We kind of hover right around this number the last 3 years. We would love to see an increase. We're going to be hosting a lot of fun events coming up in 2026 that I'll tell you about. But recapping what we did in 25 for events, we have a great partnership with Specialized through one of our board members, Matt Orlando, and we host quite a few Specialized demo days at the park. It's really fun. If you haven't got out to try one of those, it's great. You can experience everything from the e-bikes to all their cross-country bikes. Sometimes they'll even bring some of the gravel stuff to let you try out. Also, Hot Laps, a fan favorite. It's growing year over year. This coming year, it's coming back. It's going to be just as fun, if not a little bit better. Also, this year, we had the honor of hosting Hannah Bergman and Red Bull's Hang Time. It was a really special event for us to be able to bring all those women into Port Gamble and just show the community what you all are capable of. It was absolutely fabulous, and we're looking forward to bringing that back as well. You'll hear us talk about the Soil Squadron if you're ever over on the West Sound. That's pretty much our super volunteer core. We have about 20 of these people. We can rely on them to do anything from tread repair to clearing small trees with hand saws. They work for us both at Port Gamble and 360 Park. And the digital engagement, hats off to Heather. She's a rock star in this world. Our social media is growing and growing and growing. It's very interactive. It's fun. She makes great posts in collaboration with Viv and Evan at CTS. And if you haven't followed us, I highly recommend it. We have a really fun event going on right now, the 10 Days of Crankmas. You'll see me in all sorts of silly costumes coming up. We're on pause right now because the weather just hasn't been cooperating. But it's coming back, and we've got a lot of really cool things to give out. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Looking forward to 2026. It's going to be a huge year for the West Sound chapter. As you all know, the whole North Tech Zone at Port Gamble Heritage Forest was logged. So that's every trail from Trail 4 north. We need to rebuild 5 of those 8 trails that are in there still. And then we also need to rebuild Cool Runnings in Al Pacino, plus the push-up trail that was in between there. So a lot of work coming this year for us. We need to match that with volunteer hours. So huge call out this year for volunteers to come help us out at the park. Another really exciting thing that's been in the pipeline for years that you've all heard about, and it's finally done. It's not signed off and opened yet. Similar things to the Tiger Mountain parking lot, just kind of doing punch list stuff. But Port Gamble Bike Park has its own parking lot on the north end, accessible from Carver Drive. So you will not have to climb up the hill to get to the bike park anymore. You are right there at the top, and we'll be throwing some really fun events out of that parking lot as well. Another really cool thing that we're excited to bring to Port Gamble this year is Shovel and Shred. We're bringing it out of Darrington. The girls have talked. They want the chance to shape berms, lips, and jumps. And so Hannah and Heather talked and decided to rotate years. So this year, Shovel and Shred will be coming to Port Gamble. Totally different vibe, but I think it's going to be a great event, and the girls are going to love it. Hot Laps, of course, is coming back. This is an event hosted by our board member, Matt Orlando, and Jill Kittner. It's a really fun event. It's just a party. If you never raced enduro, it's a great step into the arena, as you can get 3 attempts at each stage. They're very short, lappable stages. We have food trucks, vendors, jump jams with Chelsea Kimball from Specialized. All types of pros show up. It's a really fun event to come to. Also, we'll be hosting Hang Time again with Hannah this year. So we're excited to bring that back. It was such a success for her and her crew to have the progression that we have built into Port Gamble. So she's going to bring that back, and we're really excited to host them again as well. We also will be hosting a couple events out at 360 Park. We tried to host one this year, but again, the weather just wasn't cooperating. So look for us out there. We just got done refreshing Overtime and the pump track. So a lot of cool things happening out there as well. And we have a great crew that keep that place pretty tuned up. Currently, Maverick line is closed for the winter. If you guys keep an eye on the social medias, we will be opening it periodically for just kind of jam sessions, fun events to get the community together, but we need to keep it closed just to make sure it lasts through the winter and we can use it next summer. Our chapter has put a lot of money into that. Also, we have the annual ride with the board. It's really fun. We all invite you all to come out, just hang out. We usually get some Sourdough Willie's Pizza, a sponsor of our chapter. If you have not had Sourdough Willie's Pizza, I would come to the West Sound just to taste his pizza. It is spectacular. And so that's a really fun event that we do. And then we're trying to reestablish our relationship with DNR out of Green Mountain. It's been a challenge for our chapter over the last 5 years. There's a lot of moto activity that goes on out there, and it just has been a challenge. But we've been asked to kind of reestablish that relationship with Pete Allen and Department of Natural Resources. So we're going to be hosting a kind of similar to the Orcas Island thing, and I don't know if another chapter does it, a camp out. Horse Camp is a campground at Green Mountain, so we'll be inviting you all to come barbecue one afternoon, camp with us, and then hosting a work party Saturday and Sunday out at Green Mountain. So that's it. That's all I got for the West Sound, other than keep an eye out for the social medias, because the 10 Days of Crankmas is coming still, and a lot of cool prizes, a lot of great gift cards, and great partners of ours. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. Nice job out there. We're going to go straight over to Khalid Snatchies and Tyler Foreman.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Tyler Foreman, a president of the Khalid Snatchies chapter. Hope everybody's faring well with the current weather. Like probably a few of you were without power here for maybe the 3rd time in the last week or so. So joining you from my kitchen. I apologize for any background noise. It's the only room in the house that has much light in it right now. This year was a little light for us on the trail work side. After the retreat fire last year, combined with short staffing at most of the agencies, and Fish and Wildlife putting a pause on trail work, it kind of slowed us down in the trail work department. But we stayed focused on our advocacy efforts. Our work with the Gifford Pinchot Sustainable Trails Coalition, wrapped up at the end of last year, and we came out with a good framework for a lot of things in the new sustainable trail strategy for the Gifford Pinchot National Forest. And that was an effort with, motorized, non-motorized, non-recreation groups across the board. And so now there's a good framework in place for assessing trail sustainability, including even trailheads and, paved pathways as well, not just soft surface trails. Also for coordination and communication with USF, US Forest Service, and between all the partners. So those of us that are out working on the forest together, horsemen, the hikers, the mountain bikers, the motorized community, we're not tripping over each other's feet. We're collaborating in our efforts so that we're doing a lot more work a lot more efficiently, and also a framework for submitting new proposals to the Forest Service. It's something that the Gifford Pinchot was looking, I think was lacking in and looking for, and we were looking to establish a better way for groups that have proposals for the Forest Service to submit those. And so we got some progress made in that department as well. Still on the Packwood side there, our partnership with the Upper Cowlitz Valley Trail Coalition continues, and with Packwood Trail Project. Packwood Trail Project's been really successful in securing some substantial funding in the recent year, and that'll help sustain their efforts. Probably well into the future. They secured one large major donor, who's very invested in seeing a trail development out there. So that's really helping. They're making progress in the area right near Highway 12, which is where a trailhead would be placed once they complete that section. And that would be kind of a starting point, to be a gateway to the rest of the trail network that is going to be proposed to the Forest Service. And you have good, great access right from town. It's something the area is really missing. In the Packwood area, you really have to travel for miles into the forest, and you often need a high clearance vehicle to get to trailheads. So that's a huge step in the right direction to solve one of the biggest problems that the Packwood and Randall Valley suffer from in trail access. Moving over to the Natchez side, our trail maintenance focus this year was on the Natchez side. Work on Soup Creek continues. We got up to Russell Ridge and did some clearing up there. We're slowly working to help bring that trail back into compliance with actual trail standards. It's seen a lot of work over the years. It just hasn't seen great work necessarily. So we're trying to get that thing back into shape, help Forest Service out there. And then on the advocacy front on the Natchez side, Soup Creek is again still our big focus. We're currently engaged in conversations with a potential NEPA contractor, who we're hoping will be able to handle doing all the work for NEPA that would be required to onboard the Soup Creek Trail. Our next big step is to meet with the Natchez Ranger District and hopefully this contractor to talk about what really is going to need to go into the NEPA process in order to onboard that trail. And we're also going to take it one step farther right now, and we're going to explore the possibility of not just onboarding the existing trail, but do a little scoping and see, would it be possible or worth it to consider maybe pursuing an additional trail or two in addition to onboarding the new trail. If that's a viable option, we may slow things down a bit on the onboarding process and think about a little ahead to the future and a little bit. Sorry, I got a kid here, but bothering me. Look ahead to maybe a better future than just one trail. So see what comes of that. And then looking ahead to 26, really looking forward to getting involved with some of the work in the backcountry maintenance program that Mick was talking about earlier, and have some work parties on some of our trails that are a little more remote that need a little more effort to get to than just what's off the highway. And then also actively searching for a place in the Yakima Valley where that would be suitable for a ride park or a small trail network. trying to get a little more engaged in the Yakima Valley and help expand the opportunities down there as well. So, yeah, looking forward to hopefully a much busier year, and hopefully we'll see some of you down here.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler. We're going to head over to the Met Town next. Joe?
Hey, good evening, everyone, and thanks for participating and jumping on the call. I'm always kind of come into this meeting each year kind of tired and weary, and I just get re-energized by hearing so much awesome work across the state. And so just a big shout out to everyone affiliated with Evergreen. It's awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about what we accomplished in 2025, and then a little glimpse into what we're looking forward to in 2026. 2025 was both a very challenging and rewarding year. Some of you may know, our trail funding at the beginning of the year was 100% federal dollars. And with federal budgets and staff cuts, we weren't even sure we were going to have a trail building season to begin with, let alone have any ability to pay our professional staff. And won't go into the details, but despite those challenges and some creative workarounds, we've really enjoyed one of our most productive years to date. And next, please. And before I go any further, I want to acknowledge our Met-How Chapter Council, our professional trail staff, and all of our volunteers. Goes without saying, but I do need to say it. You make our work and success possible. It's just, I can think of just so many examples of people stepping up where they weren't expected and doing amazing things. So thank you all. So our project areas in the Met-How for 2025 really were focused on Sun Mountain and also at Loop Loop North Summit. And so we built a skills park at the Met-How Trails campus and a pump track in Winthrop. This pump track in Winthrop really is a bit of a placeholder until we can find funding for a permanent paved one. But that is coming soon, so stay tuned for that. So at Sun Mountain, we built a new segment of Thompson Ridge, kind of connects Thompson Pass and keeps all of the Thompson Ridge trail on the west side of the road. So once you get to the pass, your entree right to the Thompson Ridge Trail is right there. And then moving over to Loop Loop, North Summit, we were able to build 4 trails this year. First one was continuing or finishing Bear With Me, which is the climbing trail that goes from essentially the base of the ski hill to the viewpoint, which is kind of the center of the trail system. And then we were able to build Oh Bother, which is a proper black descending trail. So for those that were over in the Met-How in October, we were able to open that right as snow was falling. That's a really fun trail with a lot of interesting rock work. Come over and enjoy it in 2026. Then we were also able to build Bongo's Tightrope, which is sort of a connector from the west to the east within the main trail system there at Loop Loop. And then finally, at the end of the year, basically a small connector yet to be named goes from the viewpoint up to Bongos. So the idea being able to connect a handful of new loops, all accessible from the main parking lot at Loop Loop. Last but not least, certainly for us and other places in the state, maintenance is a huge demand on resources, both in terms of people and money. And this is mostly due to previous forest fires. So we were able to build a turnpike on Middle Fork of Beaver Creek. The way that that trail was laid out, the creek would encroach on the trail, making it impassable at certain points of the year during runoff. So we were able to do a turnpike this year, which should be a big benefit there. And then I know this seems like a big number, but we're used to it. We maintained about 50 miles of trail across the Methow Valley Ranger District. So most of that is trail logging out, brushing, tread work, and drainage work. Next slide, please. So a big part of our work is how we engage our community. We are in a small place, in a small community, but we have a lot of very committed folks that help us get work done. So for 2025, yes, we're a small chapter, but we were able to log over 1,500 volunteer hours. We also depend quite heavily on other organizations within the Methow Valley. And this is important because without them, we don't have enough people to basically handle all of the needs. We have over 500 miles of mountain bikeable trails in the Methow and 1.4 million acres part of Methow Valley Ranger District. So tons of land, tons of trails, very few people. So the Methow Valley Trails Collaborative, which is a coalition of stakeholders and land managers, we meet monthly and work together to figure out how to fund, how to find solutions, how to leverage more funds for more organizations to do more things together. We also worked with Transcascadia in conjunction with MVTC to clear about 40 miles just in the Sawtooths alone this year. And then the Methow Valley Cycling Team, which is part of the Washington Student League, approached us wanting to adopt Pete's Dragon, which is one of the trails at Sun Mountain. So we worked with coaches and the kids to basically come up with a series of work parties so that work could be accomplished. And then Old Schoolhouse Brewery, bikes, trails, beers all go together. They have stepped up in a big way. Stay tuned for another collab beer that's going to be released in the spring. Those proceeds will go directly to the chapter and ultimately the dirt in the Methow here. And then Methow Trails, some of you may know Methow Trails primarily preps winter trails, but some of those trails in the summer also are used for bike trails. And so we work quite closely with their staff and volunteers to get work done as well. And then finally, Kiwanis and Town of Winthrop, working with those guys to make sure we could get a pump track off the ground and finished days before snow fell this year. Okay, next slide, please. So, as we all know, money matters, and and this year was not one flush with money. Despite tougher economic times and all kinds of uncertainty, we worked really, really hard to raise enough money to get through the year. If you asked me in March if we could pull it off, I wouldn't have given you a resounding yes, but I'm happy to report we actually had quite a good year. So we were able to bring in $35,000 in fundraising this year through Give Methow, Ritual Film, which we offered in the spring. And then we worked with Transition, Shimano, RockShox, and others to build a pretty amazing Transition Trans Am in chrome, of course. That was awesome to see that come and raise some money. And then finally, we like working with other partners and other user groups. Rain Shadow Running, which puts on endurance running races, really stepped up this year and said, we want to work with you guys to host work parties. And at the end of the year, depending on how our registrations are, we want to give you a donation for making awesome trails that we can also run on. So big shout out to those guys. Just wrote us a check for about $4,000 for their contribution and access to trails that we brought for their use. And next slide, please. So a little glimpse into 2026. We are working on an MOU with Methow Trails. Again, we sort of share jurisdiction, for lack of a better term, on Sun Mountain and other trails. And we want to make sure that we are offering up trails that are accessible, clear, good quality, brushed out, and we can't do that all on our own. And so we are actually collaborating with Methow Trails to share a full-time position to make sure that that actually happens in 2026. We're also going to take on phase 3 up at Loop Loop. We have a new cost share with Methow Valley Ranger District for a motorized grant. And then we are also going to do a little bit more building at Sun Mountain, and we have some more fire rehab work to do as well. We're working with the Ranger District on Upper Methow planning, which is kind of a comprehensive trail plan for what the Upper Methow will look like into the future. And then finally, working with other businesses and organizations for additional partnership and sponsorship. And next slide, please. Again, thanks to everyone for your support. Thanks for supporting Evergreen. It's awesome to be part of this. My parting words are just a huge thank you. I'm moving on at the end of this year, and it's just been a big pleasure to work with y'all.
Great. Thank you, Joe. And thanks for all of your service to the organization over the years. You have been such a huge advocate for riding and mountain bikes in the Methow, and a lot of that work out there is a direct result of your work. So thank you for your dedication over the years, man. We're gonna keep rolling. We are a bit over time, but thanks for those who are sticking around. We have a couple more chapters to go, including our newest chapter and our largest chapter at the Cascades to Sound. After that, we're gonna stick around and answer any questions you guys have. For our newest chapter, Columbia Basin, Sam is here to talk about what they did this last year.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam Chow. I'm a board member of our latest chapter, as you know. We're formed about 6 months ago in May. And first off, I'd like to give thanks to everybody on the Evergreen board for welcoming us to this awesome alliance. It feels great to be here. I wanted to go into a little bit of the history of the Columbia Basin chapter. We formed back in 2021 as Shrub Step Trails Alliance. You can go to the next slide. As a response to a loss of open spaces in the Tri-Cities area. For those of you who don't know, the Tri-Cities is has been the fastest growing community in Washington State since the year 2000 which was 190,000 population. Now we're all over 3,000 people. And despite that, there is not a single sanctioned mountain bike specific trail or even trail network in the Columbia Basin. So we aim to change that. Over the years, we've partnered with local organizations that built the trail you see pictured here. It's Friends of Badger Mountain. They've fundraised and built a multi-use hiking trail there. But on the next slide, we'll show our one of our first projects that I'm trying to showcase here. This is Candy Mountain, and we have a multi-use trail built by Friends of Badger that goes to the summit. Anytime you have multi-use, you have hikers and bikers on the same trail. There's a little bit of friction, so we've approached them about. We approached the county first. They said, well, that recommended us to consult with Friends of Badger Mountain as they're the major steward of the land over the years. And we had a meeting with them last month, and it went well. And we were going to continue the conversation. So next slide is the next project is in Badger Canyon, and that's in Kennewick. That is eligible for a DNR land trust transfer. Next slide. It's a decent amount of land, but still it's still kind of in town and able to be easily accessible. This is a land trust for keeping is a program designed to keep open spaces for conservation and recreation. Next. We had a public meeting about this topic. 39 people attended the public. We had unanimous support at that meeting, both from the public and the board as well, of the county board. In fact, they just had great things to say about what the concept of the project and how to recognize the value to the community and the lack of the lack of mountain bike trails, and we're committed to giving us, helping us in making actual fully mountain bike specific trails. So it's a good time to next slide to showcase our volunteer of the year. He's actually in front of that photo there. Ben Floyd, he was the one who spearheaded, and this was his brainchild. In looking at open spaces, the open space corridor program to provide these recreation areas, and him and his wife Laura, seen pictured there. They're both avid cyclists, of course. They run a consulting company that does conservation and trail land use planning. So he's been an absolute resource on this sort of thing. So next. Last project I want to showcase that we have working planned is the Badger Community Park. It's your typical city park, that baseball fields, etc. We noticed this open space there. You can see on the east side of the park that is designated as open space. We approached the City of Richland Parks Department, Parks Director, found out that qualifies as open space. Having a bike park qualifies as open space, and they wouldn't need to make an amendment. Presented at a round table to the Richland Parks Board last month, and again, great reception on having a bike park. We're going to focus this as being a family-friendly, like skills progression area for kids. There's lots of kids at that park already, so everything just makes sense. And I think that should be so. The next slide will show next to where all that grassy area is where we want to have that bike park. But if you can see in the foreground, if you look at all that terrain and think that it might be a good place for some trails, we couldn't agree more. But our plate is full. So next slide. We hope to just start to get digging on these projects in 2026. So I'll pass it off to Matt.
Thanks. So we'll roll right into Cascades of Sound, Matt.
All right, thanks, Eddie. I'm Matt Chrysler, the president of the Cascades to Sound chapter, and we'll present a little bit of what we have been up to for the past year. So we'll start with our volunteer information on the next slide. Just want to send a huge shout out and thanks to anyone who has volunteered within the chapter. A total number of hours of 8122 and a half. As Brandon has calculated, I'm sure there are a few more that are probably uncounted. As well as thank all of our chapter council members who have put a massive amount of time and effort into many of the things that you will see here today, as well as our staff members who also support many of these efforts. And on to the next. So the first thing I want to highlight is our education program. This year we had 839 total participants. You can see the numbers there, but just want to recognize that this has a huge impact in engaging the community around Cascades to Sound and develops a massive number of mountain bikers who eventually become members of Evergreen and volunteers for Evergreen, etc. So we're super excited that we have a successful and large dirt camp presence at Duthie and other areas, as well as our skills program that has served lots of folks over the last year. Next. And then there are trails. I have put a smattering of some of the trails accomplishments that we've had to try to avoid getting further off track on time today. The first I want to highlight is the opening of the pump tracks at Colonnade. This is, of course, in downtown Seattle, was a massive effort with a number of big volunteer days to help with the paving process. And you can see the opening ceremony was a great time, and the outcome of this was absolutely spectacular for many, many different user groups across skating, biking, etc. So it's a super exciting thing to see right in the middle of downtown Seattle. Next. We have also done significant work at Duthie Hill. So you'll see pictures here from GHY, from Gravy Train, and from Deuces Wild. Those are the three that were top of mind to me, but there's definitely a ton of work that is always going on at Duthie Hill. So check that out if you have not done so recently. We also kicked off the build for Trails C and E at Raging River this past year. So these are kind of the final phase of what is sketched out for mountain bike trails at Raging River. So we're excited to open another alternative route other than Poppin' Tops to get down the mountain once you have enjoyed all the stuff that's on the backside at Raging River, as well as Trail C that is perhaps the slightly harder to get to version of Side Hustle at Raging River that should open in 2026. So these are super, super exciting to have gotten started. Next. There was also a significant rework in Pierce County at Swan Creek. Lots of community effort. Big thanks to Puget Sound Pizza and others who contributed to make this happen. And yeah, get out there and ride ground control. It's a fun little drum trail at a park that punches above its weight. And we also did a number of community events throughout the 2025 seasons, and that's going to start with Spring Fling, which is our big maintenance event that we do just to kind of get trails ready, in this case for the festival and other activities that are going on in Cascades to Sound. So big thanks to all the volunteers that came out and made this a big party that also accomplished a massive amount of work in getting those trails cleared and ready for either riding or some larger maintenance projects on specific trails. Next. We also host Duthie Jam every year. So Duthie is a special place for a lot of people, and this is the opportunity for some of them to show off those skills. It's also an opportunity that has led to many reworks on the GHY trail that you see pictured here. So it's a super fun weekend event that we have hosted a number of times and are looking, in the absence of the mountain bike festival this year, to expand a little and do as much as we can in 2026. Next. As mentioned, we did host the mountain bike festival at Raging River. So thanks to everybody who came to that and enjoyed the trails there, as well as if you met me and had a milkshake on the mountain. That was super fun for me, and I hear people enjoyed that a little. So yeah, we look forward to whatever is next for the MTB Festival eventually, but also are excited for Duthie Jam and some of our other events and a little bit more statewide focus to those chapter level events moving forward. Shovel and Shred, another big event that gets a lot of women out to Darrington, and looks like it's going to move to West Sound and Port Gamble this coming year. But the last instance at Darrington was a great success. It did both the shovel and the shred side, and lots of riding and some great progress on some of the trails there. And then we, as the Cascades to Sound board, hosted a support station at the Sturdy Dirty Enduro, which was super fun. So got people out at the top of the Pacific Climbing Trail where they would start at Executive Decision or and needed a little encouragement after making that climb. So I got people hyped up there and had a lot of fun in an office space theme. And then one of my favorites, the annual Take a Kid Mountain Biking Day, which this year we were able to secure a $10,000 grant from the Issaquah lodging tax that enabled us to really focus on this event and make it even bigger than it has been in the past. So you can see that we do a lot with the dual slalom race that Ashley McDonald and other folks helped to put together. As well as this was an opportunity for us to do a major rebuild of the dual slalom that was partially funded by some of that grant money. So it was a great opportunity to combine our trail work and our event work and pull off a pretty magical event that gets lots of kids on bikes, and the stoke was high. And finally, we opened the Cheese Tea Green Space, which is yet another opportunity for folks in downtown Seattle to ride a mountain bike in a place where a few folks are able to ride out their door and onto trails. So it's a super exciting opportunity to have some trails that are a bit more in the urban core that people are really loving and taking advantage of. And we are excited to have in Cascades to Sound. I will hand it back.
Gosh. Let me start over. Thank you to everyone who presented tonight. It was a lot, and when we first started this meeting, I said this is a complex and a very busy organization, and I think you got a pretty big taste of that in the last 2 hours. Thank you to those who stuck around, who went a little bit over time, and special thanks to our volunteers, the folks here in this meeting who. And there's a few of you who pull double duty, not only as the chapter council lead, but also serving on the statewide board of directors. Thank you, Matt, Tony, Melinda, Tyler, Jesse for his work over the years. Thank you guys for your help. Can't do it without you. Let's just switch back over to our audience. If you have any questions about any of the trails or any of the functions of this organization around the state, likely someone here knows the answer. This is a good group to ask these questions. Drop them into the chat. We'll start looking at them now. Question about what's happening now with grant funding for trail projects in the upcoming year. That's a really great question. We're mostly past sort of the hiccups we've had at the beginning of the year, all related to sort of the retraction in the federal government, which kind of waterfalls into a lot of state and local grants. But we're hopefully back next year. Our trails guys know these grants pretty well if they want to chime in, but looking mostly good. Mick, Brandon, from the organization side, did you have anything they want to add?
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of the grants right now, the federal grants, we're starting to see more activity in that as Joe mentioned with the Met How, we are picking up a Nova motorized grant. I know that sounds kind of weird being a mountain bike organization and picking up motorized on that use as mountain bikers ourselves. We have funding that is coming in for backcountry work. Backcountry work has a little bit more funding in it in the Northeast. So we just picked up both Title II as well as timber retained receipt funding with the Colville National Forest. And then on the statewide side, we have RCO. We have a little bit of a delay from RCO at the moment. I'll let Brandon Good speak more to that if he wants to. He handles our RCO, but for the most part, most of the grants and funding, it's tight, extremely competitive right now, more competitive than it's been for quite a while.
I can touch real quick on our RCO grants. Yeah, we have two biannual RTP maintenance grants that we get that we use for maintenance work in a number of different work sites across the state. We have one grant for the east side and one grant for the west side. Currently, they're kind of held up in a bureaucratic process, and it's going to take just a little bit more time until we are able to use those funds. Most likely, mid-January is kind of the estimated date for that. So stay tuned.
Viv, there's a question in the chat about someone not doing any social media. Can you respond? How can they be informed about activities and events?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, respect. Um, we are super active with our email newsletters, so make sure that you are subscribed to the correct newsletters. I will drop the link in the chat, or maybe Bennett, you can, to make sure that you have selected statewide news. We did send this meeting link out through there. And then we also continue to share, gosh, what are the avenues? Like on our website, we have our events calendar regularly updated. I can also share that link, but newsletter is hands down our number one way of reaching people. And yes, we do send a lot of emails and we have a lot of things to share. I send out 2 statewide emails per month. So one of them is specifically marketing, mostly events, work parties, and ways to get involved. And then one email newsletter goes out later in the month, just storytelling and sharing what's going on the trails. So make sure that you are subscribed, and we'll get that link in the chat for you. Good question.
Todd McCarthy asks in the chat, when will we see new trails in the Southwest? And of course, he's going to ask that. Thank you, Todd. He is one of our more dedicated members down there in the Southwest chapter, and has spent a lot of hours in the Yakult. I'm not going to dive into the details too much. This is a good question. You know, DNR manages their areas different from one another. It's a unique situation for them, and so where the folks in Seattle can see a lot of activity in the DNR land at Tiger and Raging, it's not the same way in the Yakult because it's managed differently. So as we continue having conversations with the folks down there and the folks at the state, we'll continue working and advocating to see more trails and hopefully complete that vision that was shared earlier. Our new trails director Brandon actually came from the DNR and managed the Darrington Trail Network right before he came here. Brandon, if you have anything else you want to add to that, just from that perspective, but That's it. That's mostly it. It's a good question, Todd.
We will definitely be leaning on you, Brandon and Eddie, for help in this area for sure.
Yeah, we'll do our best. We'll talk after this and come up with a plan and try and advocate and pitch that to the DNR. But yeah, I'll go to bat for us for sure and do whatever we can.
Just a general comment about funding and working with agencies. Joe had dropped a message in the chat just saying, even though some things are getting back to normal, the Forest Service, it's really hard to work with them because of reduced capacity. And we're actually seeing similar problems as state budgets are getting cut. We just had a meeting with DNR today, and they're talking about the potential for even more cuts and the potential loss of staff. And so there's two things going on. There's the funds that are actually available to do the work that we want to do, but then there's also, do staff have the capacity to help facilitate making that work happen? So it's a really challenging environment right now in terms of working with these agency partners, but we're of course committed to trying to keep things moving forward when we can.
Yeah. Thanks, Jesse. I think generally speaking, and it's not a secret how challenged a lot of the public land agencies are in these times. And one of our priorities is making sure that this organization is strong enough and nimble enough to fill in into where those gaps are, and be partners to them and help out and really take care of the land that is important to all of us. That's one of our priorities for next year. Also helping share the information to our membership and the writing community on how best they can help as well. And we saw this during the public land sell-off, where the outdoor community en masse rose up and said, no, that's a terrible idea. We're going to need more of that energy moving into the next year, the next couple of years, as public funding for our public lands continues to be diminished. And so, stay tuned. We'll be sending out action alerts and ways that our riders and our community can help out, talking to public officials. We found out that they listen, and they rely on a lot of our partner organizations to give them information. So just you can rely on us to keep sharing that information out.
Eddie, there's a question in the chats. Can ordinary members do anything helpful to advocate with agencies? So more to the question that you're just answering.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's it. If we are going to write letters or ask folks to call their public officials, the folks representing them in Olympia and Washington, D.C., that is one of the best things that they can do on the policy side. Immediately, just if you want to get your hands dirty and help get the trails restored and repaired and back to a good condition, we could use a lot of help in the next couple of months. The weather over the last week has been pretty disastrous for a lot of trails. I just saw some pics coming out of Leavenworth. It looks very similar to the bomb cyclone last year. So we'll be needing some volunteers. Look for those messages to help with your local trails. Do we have any more last minute questions coming through, or did we miss anything, Tara?
No, I think that's all the questions that we have in at the moment.
Awesome. We'll give it maybe another minute if anybody has anything else that they want to ask, or if any of our panelists or volunteers want to add anything to the to the existing conversation. Alex, how are we going to do the drawing? Are we going to do it live, or are we just going to do it and contact someone?
No, we're gonna do it live. That
Oh,
makes it way more fun.
outstanding. Well, I'll leave it to you then.
All right. Well, one more minute if any last minute questions come through, and that'll give us a second for any last minute gifts to come through. And just a reminder, it's matched 100%. So whatever you've donated tonight, just know that that's doubled thanks to the Salzer Family Foundation, which is incredible. And then you get to win a really sweet bag. Whoever the winner is, I'll be in touch in email, and then we can coordinate a time to grab it, to pick it up, or to have it delivered.
One
Who's the
last
fast-
question. Who's the fastest rider on the Evergreen staff?
Kristen McCune.
Strongest for sure, hands down. Brandon, oh, you might be, or Micah. Micah's pretty fast too. We've got a really good, Viv. I mean, there's a strong group of riders here.
I lost Brandon O in the first like 20 feet of trail after I tried to ride behind him.
Ian Robinson.
Ian, yeah, one of our trail builders. He's pretty fast.
I'm pushing 50 now. I'm not as fast as I was.
I feel like the older I get, the faster I was.
All right. Well, if that is it, drum roll, please, for our big winner of the night. Looks like Amanda Gates is our winner. So thank you, Amanda. I will be in touch and we can coordinate. And thank you to everybody else that donated. This is huge for us and just so incredibly generous. So thank you for being here. Thank you for giving your time, your dollars. It's so important.
I saw Robert Haynes briefly raise his hand. Was that a question, Robert? Or was that a clap? Or was I seeing things? Okay.
It was a fat finger.
Nice. Thanks everyone for joining tonight. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for keeping us in mind as you do your year-end giving. Thank you for coming out on the trails and helping clear them. And thank you for being part of the community. With that, we'll end this webinar, and we'll see you all on the trails. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.